There should have been nothing inside of this mirror, but when CICA turned on the machine, something was waiting. It looked like a starving dog and it wanted out. The researchers called it Dexter, and when they asked what it could feel, Dexter understood only two things: hunger and pain. This is Dexter the Dog, an analog horror story by expgoat, where scientists built a doorway inside of a mirror and found this thing staring back at them. But the real question is not only how Dexter escaped out of the mirror, it's why it kept opening the mirror after it started to eat people. The scientists in this story spent years building a doorway inside of a mirror, and their reward was blood, trauma, and Dexter. But today's sponsor, Cash Giraffe, rewards your time with something much more valuable. Cash Giraffe is a free rewards app that turns the time you normally spend playing games into real rewards. Download it, allow tracking so your progress counts, and choose a game that you actually want to play. As you play, you automatically earn gems, and daily and weekend events can give you even more. Then you trade those gems in for real rewards. And no, this is not some weird black magic. Game developers pay Cash Giraffe for new players, and Cash Giraffe shares part of that money with you. And cash outs start as low as 50 cents. Options include PayPal, Amazon gift cards, coupons, and much more. And guess what? All you need is an email. Cash Giraffe currently has a 4.5 on Trustpilot, where you can go and read those reviews for yourself. And across its rewards apps, more than $60 million has already been paid out. So use the link at the top of my description for up to 3,999 free gems. Now let's get back to the scientists in this story, because their reward was Dexter. The story begins in 1982 with the Center of Alternative Science Research, or CICA. Its project is called Portals Between Mirrors. The goal is huge: use a reinforced mirror to reach another reality, the past, or maybe the future. Instead, the machine opens onto a dark room with a pale animal blocking the entrance. CICA labels it as Experiment 0002. Its body is thin enough to count its ribs. Its front legs hang like arms, and unlike an animal caught on camera, it keeps returning to the exact place where researchers can see it. This is the first answer. Dexter is not wandering past the portal. Dexter knows someone is watching. So CICA sends a man named Valentín Gonzalez to interview it. This changes the experiment immediately. The mirror is no longer just a camera into another place. It is a conversation with something that is hungry. Valentín asks the obvious question first: what do you eat? Dexter answers that it's hungry, but the exchange feels less like animal behavior and more like a child learning which words make a human stand still. Valentín jokes about dog food, but Dexter does not understand the joke. Then Valentín explains that jokes are something friends share. Dexter asks if they are friends, and Valentín responds with yes. And honestly, this is a terrible time to start a friendship, because Dexter is not asking for affection. It is testing Valentín's answers. When he asks whether it feels happiness or sadness, Dexter gives him nothing, but it understands pain. Worse, it says that it likes the pain and wants to feel again. And that is when his thing that's wearing a dog shape stops pretending the shape fits. Remember what Dexter told him: hunger and pain. Those are not random monster words anymore. They are the creature's entire relationship with the world. It is hungry enough to approach humans and interested enough in pain to keep the conversation going. The recording ends with an emergency message hidden in Morse code: CICA needs help. Experiment 002 has escaped, which should end the project, but instead, the next official report tries to erase the danger. CICA announces that the experiment was canceled and archived. No questions, no more investigation. The company even insists the entity never escaped and was not hostile. That explanation works until the footage shows blood across the laboratory. And bro, there is blood everywhere, on every single wall. So either CICA has the loosest definition of non-hostile, or this report was never meant to actually tell the truth in the first place. The sequel, Dexter 2, stops following the official story and now is following Valentín. He has been hiding for almost 2 hours. He believes everyone else is dead, the creature can track his scent, and the only thing left to do is reach the archive and find a way out. Now, the interviewer is not studying Dexter, he is surviving. The footage gives Dexter a simple hunting rule. It waits, listens, and lets Valentín move first. When he runs, the hallways repeat, folding him back towards the mirror. His escape route becomes the experiment. And look at the room he reaches. The equipment is familiar, the layout is familiar, and even the mirror is familiar. Valentín thinks he has made it back to safety, but the report waiting after this scene reveals that he crossed into the other side without even realizing. Valentín thinks he is surviving a failed experiment. CICA is watching a successful one. That is the real horror of this story. The man asking the questions was already becoming the answer. The project report calls the test a success. A human subject entered the alternate dimension without knowing the transition had happened. 95% of that place remains unknown. And the copied laboratory was convincing enough to keep the subject moving deeper inside. So this obviously changes that first video. CICA did not merely discover a creature behind a mirror. They proved a person could pass through, and Valentín may have been sent in without informed consent. The description names him and suggests deception. Suggested matters. The human test is confirmed. The exact conversation that put him there is not. The order of the first breach is messy on purpose. An emergency signal says Dexter escaped. CICA denies it. Blood covers the lab. Another report celebrates the human crossing. This is not a clean timeline. It is a cover story written while the experiment is still moving. The third chapter, Everything for Science, removes the last comforting interpretation. It returns to Valentín's encounter from a cold point of view. Dexter is not panicking inside the new environment. It is learning the halls, following scent, and discovering where a human body is easily broken. A recovered message confirms Valentín was sent. The writer sounds guilty. Someone on the team understands they are sacrificing him for data. That proves institutional betrayal. It does not prove one executed plan every death, and the story never gives us one villain to blame and dismiss. CICA's motives might as well be the chapter title, Everything for Science. But science is supposed to reduce uncertainty before risking a life. Here, uncertainty is the product. Valentín is useful precisely because he does not know where he is. A second organization is introduced called C. Entering the damaged site, its team finds what remains of Valentín near the portal. His face is gone and the body appears to be sinking into a surface around him. The imagery is clear, the mechanism is not. We know where they found him, not what the dimension was doing to him. Now the duplicate laboratory from chapter 2 means something worse. It was not an exit that failed, it was a convincing room inside a place that could copy safety long enough to keep Valentín close. The doorway did not only let him cross, it made him believe that he had not crossed at all. C also documented another hostile specimen, BON32A, nearly 7 meters tall, drawn to rotten meat and captured for study. This is not Dexter's origin. It proves the Mirror Project sits inside a large world of entities, and C still studies what CICA could not control. Then the recovery team checks the one thing that matters. Dexter is not with the body. It is not in the corridor. It is not waiting behind the glass. The creature that had been blocking the portal is suddenly missing from the side where CICA found it. And this is where the title of the story stops being description and becomes a warning. CICA built the mirror to prove a human could go through. Valentín proved it, which means the doorway works in both directions unless something on screen proves otherwise. The alarm begins before the team understands why. Watch the edge of the frame. There is no report left to reinterpret. Dexter put his limbs through the frame and crawls into our world. So what is the human eating dog that crawled out of the mirror? Officially, it is Entity 002, an intelligent, pain-seeking predator capable of speech, patience, and hunting by scent. Its true origin is still unknown, but its escape is not a theory. The third chapter shows the crossing. The hidden message after the incident reports human remains, a destroyed laboratory, and no movement from the creature. Later official uploads say the military is trying to track experiment 002. That matters because the problem is no longer contained behind the mirror. The mirror is behind Dexter. Even this cereal spoon short changes the earlier interview. The dog food joke was funny because Valentín believed he was speaking to a dog. After the feeding imagery, that joke becomes a warning about what Dexter actually recognizes as food, not kibble, people. The final short repeats one phrase: he will arrive. By then, Dexter already has, so it sounds less like a countdown and more like a promise that the arrival is not over. That reading is interpretation. The military search makes the danger outside the lab official. So hey, if you want more horror stories where we actually follow the evidence instead of just recapping the monster, subscribe, because Dexter is scary, but the people behind the mirror are the reason it reached us. CICA spent all this time proving a human could travel through the mirror. Valentín proved it. They never asked what would use the same door to come back. Dexter did not break into our world. CICA opened it for him.